this is Job Search Rescue. My name is Marcy Lilly, and I'll be your host today. But I'm really happy that you could make it to our session. Today, we're going to be looking into exploring creative job search strategies, keywords, and platforms. And we're going to kind of deep dive into more of the creative strategy portion of that. So we'll go ahead and get started. So, on the agenda today, I'm going to introduce myself, and I want you guys, if you can, I'm going to actually follow up with an email. The email that you put into the chat today. I'm going to follow up with a poll. So if you could kindly fill that poll out to let us know how we did in the session, or if there's something else that you would like to see from the Career Center, please let us know. This survey will help us successfully plan programming for our future sessions because we are here to serve the students here at the Career Center. So I will be sending out that poll. And if you would like, any more information from this session today, please let me know. I am recording the session. So if you would like to have a recording of the session, you can do so as well. I also have a featured podcast I'll share with you if you're into podcasts right now. I'm currently into job searching podcasts. So I'll share some of my top podcasts with you. Also, some Career Center information, just to give you a little overview about who we are, what we do here at the Career Center, and things like that. Not a lot of students know that we're here, and we are here to help. So if you ever find yourself struggling, to find a job, create a resume, career fair help, any of that, we can always help you here at the Career Center. This is a lifetime service. And then we'll get right down to it with our job search rescue session. So this is the podcast of the month. If you have Spotify, which I am addicted to Spotify, the music, the podcast, just everything. And whenever I'm working, I do like to turn on a podcast every now and then. But I would recommend if you are kind of in the job search realm right now or world, I would suggest this podcast in particular, Find Your Dream Job. And if you do request the presentation, I don't know if you can actually click on that and it'll send you to Spotify from my presentation currently. But if you would like a copy of the session today, you are most welcome to request that and find that. And you could also take pictures of each presentation slide if you would like. It's really up to you in terms of what you would like to do with that. But this particular podcast, I do want to mention, is really interesting because the topic is stop underselling yourself in your job search. And a lot of students do that. They don't think they're qualified enough to apply to a certain job, which is most definitely not the case in most instances. And so it just kind of goes into more detail about that and just to have more confidence and don't oversell yourself, but you know what your worth is and what jobs you are qualified for and what jobs maybe to think about in the future applying for once you get those skills. So my name is Marcy Bishop Lilly. I am the career coach for CVAD in the College of Music. So I am a career coach for more of like the creative majors, but I'm keeping this presentation very general. You'll see some more like creative job search engines here as well. But I do support CVAD and the College of Music. Um, and I received my bachelor's of art in art education in 2013. So a very long time ago from this really tiny school in North Carolina, UNC Pembroke. From there, I applied to graduate schools. I got into UNT, and so I pursued my MFA in painting and drawing. And I got that master's degree in 2016, and I have not left Denton since. So I really love Denton. I love being here. I love what I do. I love helping students. Um, and so, if you would like to schedule an appointment with me to discuss your resume, to discuss your what to do with your major, we have all types of appointments here at the Career Center. So again, I'm not sure if students can click on that link and be sent to the information. You can try it, but I'm not sure throughout the presentation. If you can, awesome. If not, again, I can send you the presentation later, or you could take a picture of it. I do have my contact information up here at the top. If you wanted to send me an email, give me a call. My office is here in Sage Hall 202, and that's where you can find me. And you can also add me on LinkedIn. I do post a pretty good number of positions on my LinkedIn. That's pretty much the majority of what I do with my LinkedIn is just share information about events that the Career Center is holding, as well as um, jobs. So, whether that be on campus, internships, full time positions, I will share those on my page. So, feel free to connect with me if you have a LinkedIn. And if you don't have a LinkedIn, I recommend getting one. Very valuable right now. I wanted to discuss a little bit about my career background and my pathway into being a career development specialist. Like, how did I end up at UNT? So my background may look a little like yours. I worked in a restaurant for about 10 years, all throughout my undergrad career, throughout graduate school. And well into my adjuncting years, I was still teaching and serving at the same time. So, customer service has always been there, and it's always something that you can kind of fall back on. You can make money from, and and you learn a lot in this industry. I don't know if you guys are, working in customer service right now. A lot of people are, but you learn a lot and you learn how to deal with difficult customers and people, and you also make the best friends. Like, some of my best friends I've made throughout the restaurant industry, and I wouldn't trade that experience for the world. So, while I was working at a restaurant and being a full-time student, I was also in the process of getting my undergrad in art education. And I also had another job in which I worked at a little place called Wine and Design. It's much like, painting with a twist, where you have clients who you teach how to, make a painting, step by step process. And so I kind of always made myself have a another job that was related to my major or to my career. So even if it didn't pay a lot, even if it was volunteer, I always made sure that I was still getting experience. But, that was in my major. And so I was working at this wine and design place. This was really helpful for me because I was student teaching. I was running all over the place. I was working at Outback. I had a lot going on, but I was way younger back then, and I could do all these things, and so it was a really great experience. But teaching at Wine and Design really prepared me for teaching in the future. So I got my undergrad in art education, and I student taught my last semester of my senior year. And that last semester, it really made me like realize how much I did not like teaching at public schools. And it was my last semester. And so I'm graduating with this degree in something that I'm not even quite sure, like, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? Like, I don't even like kids. Like, what am I doing? But by that time, I had really already decided that I wanted to go to graduate school. And so I applied to 8 graduate schools, got into UNT, was really blessed to find an assistantship within CVAD. And so I got the amazing opportunity to teach UNT students core drawing classes, design classes. And then eventually, when I graduated, I became an adjunct. And a lot of students don't know what an adjunct professor is, and that is a part time professor. So not full time, but part time. And this is a student example, really awesome, talented students that I had in my drawing class, and that's me and my students in Design One. And I just had the best time, and it really made me realize that I wanted to be in higher education. Just by having that experience, really was a turning point for me. Like maybe I didn't want to teach, at a public school or younger children, but just having, the experience of teaching college age students really kind of turned it around for me. And so I made it a goal, a personal goal to be in higher education. So I have been teaching after I graduated in 2016. I had been teaching as an adjunct, still am an adjunct. I teach art appreciation at Tarrant County currently, while being a full time career development specialist here at UNT. And something else that I was doing before I landed my job here at UNT was that I was a studio tech at Billings Productions. And as you can see, um, it was a very, very cool job. It was probably one of those like once in a lifetime kind of um, crazy experiences. I found a job while I was teaching and adjuncting. I found a job listed on Craigslist. And, a lot of maybe you guys are like, well, Craigslist, is that still a thing? Like, yeah, it is. Like, I could find a lot of postings on Craigslist with all of these like really quirky, weird side gig kind of jobs. But this was a full time job as a studio tech at Billings Productions. And basically, what we did was we made animatronic dinosaurs. And so, this is a picture of me painting this dinosaur using the skills that I had gotten in graduate school and undergrad. So, basically, what I did was I painted dinosaurs. I applied feathers, different elements to the dinosaurs. We used different sculptural methods. And they also had me go to different parts of the country to take down shows. So they sent me to California, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. And the big one was Japan. I've always wanted to go to Japan, and I got the opportunity to go to take down a show that they had in Yokohama. And that was like amazing. I had the best time with them. But again, like I was still wanting to solely like devote myself to higher education, and I still wanted to be in that realm with students. And at that point, I was teaching online. I wasn't really in the classroom, and so I was like, should I stay with, Billings? Like it is a very strenuous job. It's a very tiring job as well, very physical. And so that was one of, the cons about that job. So I was like, I'm going to still continue to teach. And um, so I resigned from that position. And finally, I got the career development specialist here at UNT. And I think what made me a good fit for that was that I had all of these experiences in different areas of art, and so I really knew the background and what kind of goes into having a creative career. So I don't know if you guys in the session are in a creative field or looking for a creative job, but it still goes. Even if you're a business major, you can still think creatively about how you strategize your job search and how you gain all of these important experiences. So, what we do here at the Career Center is a lot of things. If you have questions about your major or what to do with your major, we can help you answer some of those questions and we can look for positions that are related to your major. And we can also align your skills with some of the job descriptions that are posted out there. We do resume and cover letter reviews. Even if you don't have a resume, we can still help you build one. Um, we also do internship and job search strategies like we're doing today. We're having an event, a little session about how to job search. We also do one-on-one advising, career assessments, mock interviews. If you have a really big interview coming up and you kind of want to get some practice, we can help you here at the Career Center. Free business cards, workshops and presentations, alumni services. Again, this is a lifetime service. Any services that we have here at the Career Center, you can always use as an alumni if you find yourself 5, 10 years down the line needing some career help. You can always come back to the Career Center and we can help you. This is a lifetime service. We do have a very fair number of events going on. We have networking events, career fairs, virtual interviews, things like that. And you can look those up the same way you found this event today on Handshake. And I'll share another event with you later on in the slides. We also do student employment. So if you were to get a position here on campus, we do process I-9s here in our offices. And job shadowing, not so much this semester because of COVID. A lot of things are kind of turned upside down. So shadowing is a thing, but it's kind of on the back burner. And I also want to mention that if y'all have any questions throughout the session, since it's such a small group, please unmute yourself and ask away. Okay. So we do have a really good number of video resources that we share any of our sessions. Well, not all of our sessions, but most of our sessions can be found on our Career Center website. Um, so if you're looking for an alternative to internships, we have a few options for that. And I do host a CVAD career roundtable session every month. And all of those sessions are posted to the website as well. So you can find our video content there. Where can you find your career coach? So if you're not CVAD or COM specifically, you can go to our website and under About, you can find your career coach, your designated college career coach. So each one of our career coaches are designated to a certain college. We have Dr. Brian Hirsch as business, Amy Hicks as alumni, Margaret is first year, Janice is hospitality management, and Laura is our College of Information over at Discovery Park. So, and we have others too. This is just a screenshot, but if your college wasn't listed under what I just said, you can always go to our website and find more information about that and how to contact them to schedule an appointment. Our next session of the Career Studio will be a resume review, and that will be on April the 6th. And it will be in breakout rooms. So it's kind of like, individual. You will have to send me your resume prior to the session. And I do have my email down here, marcy.bishop@unt.edu, if you'd like to join in. So it'll be a breakout session, very individualized, very personal. So make sure you can join that if you can. It's going to be April the 6th from 10 to 11:30. This was the event that I was mentioning earlier. It's the professional networking series, and it may not apply to you if you're not CVAT or college, but you may want to take a look. We will be having some employers. We'll have some people who are working in the creative industry and in the music industry come out, or not come out, speak at our session. It will be virtual. So you can register using that QR code below or this link. So if you click on that or scan that QR code, you'll be sent to the registration for that on Handshake. So that will be held on April the 12th from 11 to 1. So please feel free to visit that. And I do want to make note that most every college has a professional networking series. So if you're not involved with CVAT or the College of Music, um, there will be a professional networking series for your college. You just have to keep checking Handshake. So, down to business. Where have you conducted your job search in the past or present? And if you feel comfortable, you can unmute yourself and kind of give us some ideas about where you've looked in the past, or where you're currently looking. So I'm going to give you a second if you want to unmute and just kind of give your experience. Did you have any luck? How did it go? Did it not go that well, or maybe it went really well? Some students have really great luck using search engines, some don't. Oh, I see a lot of students using Indeed, LinkedIn, all of the very popular search engines. And sometimes you have to go seek out opportunities from the company's or business's website. Like sometimes you have to bypass the engines. And I'll kind of discuss that later. But the reasons why you're not getting hired, and it could be a lot of other things just besides, what we have listed here. I got this actually off of Indeed. So you're passively participating, meaning that maybe you are applying to a lot of jobs with one resume that you're not editing, or you're not tailoring to the job description. I see a lot of that happening. So if you're just, sending out tons and tons of resumes to just any and every job, it's going to get bypassed. It's going to get overlooked. The applicant tracking system, if you don't have like description words in your resume, they can easily bypass your resume. So if you're just sending out, a general random resume, you're probably going to get overlooked. Sorry to say it, but it happens. Showing a lack of passion, that kind of, um, kind of goes along with number one. If you're just, sending out random resumes, you're undervaluing your talents. A lot of students don't know that they have skills. You learn these skills in classes that you take. Whenever I'm, talking to, let's say, a painting and drawing major, they have taken graphic design classes and they probably do have a portfolio of some sort in graphic design. So you do have knowledge. Maybe you need to refine those skills, but you have this behind your belt, you have this knowledge, and you need to hold on to that, and really work with it. Your application needs work. Maybe you didn't finish it. Maybe you didn't fill out all of the questions. It could be a number of different things. You didn't research the company. Your expectations are too high. You have too much experience, which is probably not the case for students. But as you progress in your career, some jobs won't hire you because you do have too much experience. You're underqualified for the job. So, if you are, applying to, let's say, you are an accounting student and you're applying to a graphic design position, They are going to want to see your portfolio and examples that you have. So if you don't have a portfolio, you're underqualified for the job and you're probably not going to get a call back for an interview. So you have to have qualifications in order to get that call back. Sometimes you need an industry connection. That's where LinkedIn comes in. Your interviewing skills need improvement. And that is another story. But we're kind of just talking about our job search strategies today. But yeah, sometimes your interviewing skills do need improvement. Sometimes you're unaware of, nervous little habits that we all have. And that's why we have mock interviews here at the Career Center. So we are here to help with that. So before you even start searching, some things you need to have a checklist for. First and foremost, make sure you have a resume or one that you can tailor to meet the description of the job. Okay, so you can have a basic generic resume, which I would recommend every student have. Um, from that generic basic resume, you can then tailor your resume to meet the description of the job that you are wanting to apply for. But you have to have a foundation first. So you have to have that resume. Have a LinkedIn updated and ready for views. You wouldn't believe the amount of employers and people who will Google you or look you up to see, what your internet presence is like. So have a LinkedIn updated and ready for views. Um, Make sure that you have, if you do have any gaps in your employment, LinkedIn can kind of help bridge that. So make sure it's updated and ready to go. Make sure your social media is used to your advantage and not against it. Okay, so later on in the session, I'm going to kind of go over some social media and information about how to connect your job search strategies with that. But first and foremost, you want to make sure that your social media is good to go, meaning that there's not any like non professional kind of images listed on there. Okay. Update your website. If you're in a creative area, you will have a website. And then again, like this just kind of covers your whole internet professional presence. So even if you're not in a creative area, having a website about you, your work, your, whatever, it's a good idea. Employers like to see that you have a presence. And make an appointment with your career coach to kind of talk about some of these things and make sure you're on the right track in order to start applying for these jobs. All right. Sometimes you'll find a lot of jobs, other times there are nothing. Like, you have to keep searching. Job searching is a job, not to mention actually applying. So remember, you need to create a resume, a cover letter, and, in other cases, a portfolio or some sort of supplementary materials that require, uploading for you to be able to actually apply to the job. So set aside time to prepare for all of this. Again, this is going to be kind of like a part-time job where you're looking for opportunities, you're getting your materials ready. So set aside some time for that and expect it to take time. You can't rush through some of these things. And if you rush, then there may be a chance that you will not get a call back for an interview. Okay. And keep searching. Never give up the hunt. Even if you do find a job that you absolutely love, keep building on that career. And you could use that as a stepping stone. You can use that however you like. If you want to keep that job forever, fine. If not, you can still list that on your resume and keep building your career into however you visualize it or however you see it. And give me 1 second. I'm going to pause here for 1 second so I can plug in my laptop because I forgot to plug it in before the session. So give me 1 second. Yeah, that would be very unfortunate if my laptop just died in the middle of this session. Um, so searching, most students will use Indeed. Indeed is okay, but just remember that everyone uses Indeed. Okay, so you really have to make yourself stand out if you plan on using Indeed. In most instances, I suggest that students use Indeed only to see what jobs are listed in the area, not to actually apply to those jobs using Indeed because it is kind of like a third party kind of search engine. So I recommend that students, if there's a company listed using Indeed, you'll see the company and where it's located. If you can Google that company, go to their website, look at their opportunities on their website and apply there. So you are getting a direct contact with that company and not using Indeed. Um, Also, another tactic would be to make a list of the top 10 companies, places, businesses, whoever you want to work for. A lot of students don't do this. The sky's the limit also. If you want to work for the Dallas Museum of Art, okay? If you want to work for the Fort Worth Modern, make a list of some of your top places that you want to work and go to their website and see what opportunities they have listed. Because I say this because some companies do not even post on search engines. They know that if, whoever wants this job or to apply to this job, they can get a good amount of applicants just by people going to their website and seeking them out. Especially if they're a highly sought after company or business, whatever. Let's say you want to work for Tesla. Okay. So they know that they can find qualified candidates who will go to their website and apply. Now I see them posting their ads and things for jobs, but they also have a lot of other jobs that they don't post on search engines as well. So that would be also one of my very top recommendations to do in your active job searching. So, top job search engines, Google Job Search. Not a lot of students know about that, and I'm going to show you some tricks of the trade for that. LinkedIn, Indeed, Career Builder, Glassdoor is a great resource, especially if maybe you're in the interview process or um, you're kind of maybe you have an offer from two companies or two jobs. Glassdoor is a great resource if you want to read reviews about a company, if you want to know how the employees are treated. They do have a rating system, and I don't know about y'all, but I love to read reviews on Amazon. Like I I like to hear other people's experiences, and that goes for working at a job. So Glassdoor has that option where you can read reviews about companies, about how they treat their employees, different things like that. And so I think that's really important. So Glassdoor is a good one. Handshake is also good, especially if you're looking for an internship or on-campus positions here at UNT. I would recommend Handshake. We do vet all of our employers, so you're not getting, some sort of scam. We have a whole system in place so that when employers do post jobs with us, that um, we make sure that they're good, they're vetted. If you're in a creative field, I would recommend Glass Tire, or if you're just kind of interested in art in general, Glass Tire is a really great website for visual artists. They promote different art shows that are going on in the area, DFW, Austin, Houston. Um, they have different opportunities for artists like open calls, residencies, studio spaces, all that good stuff. So if you are in a creative field, Glass Tire has got what you need. Okay. Social media, specific websites again, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about the social media portion of that. An honorable mention, Craigslist. In my personal creative job career building experience, Craigslist has been pretty good. So it does get an honorable mention. So back to our Google job search. I don't know if you're familiar with Google Jobs, but I think this is actually a really cool search engine. Just because there's so many different kind of filters that you can use with this particular engine. I just did like just a generic jobs as a keyword. So I just put in jobs, and then the filters that they have on here are contract. So if you wanted contract work, if you wanted an internship, there's internships, part-time, full-time. There's also location. If you wanted to work remotely, they have that option. Um, and they also have, see, I think that's in the next slide. But they also have the option of different areas of whatever your keyword is. So I'm going to go to the next slide so we can kind of talk about the keywords you're using. So using your major as a keyword will get you a very broad return of different jobs. Be more specific than your major. So if I put in art, I'm going to get a lot of jobs, some that I'm not qualified for, some that I am, but it's going to yield a lot of results. So you need to be more specific in what kind of keywords you're putting in there. So my suggestion is to a lot of students who are not quite sure what they even want to do after graduation is just to Google. Just use Google, look around, look at jobs that interest you, like see what the description is. If the job duties are like, oh, this is really cool, like I might want to apply to this. See if there's any specific skills that you need in order to be qualified for that position. Because there are a lot of different titles out there for jobs these days. You may get coordinator, you may get social media content manager, like you may get manager, you may get like, there's just so many different things that you can put into the system that will yield a lot of results. So just be really specific when you are searching. You can also search by a specific skill set. So of course you can use your major as a keyword, but again, it's going to be very broad. So if you were to use a specific skill set, just for example, I have some skills that creative students will normally have at CVAD. So we have 3D printing, fabrication, digital editing, Photoshop, content, graphic, marketing is another really big one. That kind of thing that will yield some more results for you that are very specific, and maybe not a lot of applicants have applied to some of those positions just because you're putting in a specific skill set that you do have. So just keep that in mind. So back to what I was saying about using Google job search is that they have different categories. So when you are using Google Jobs, I just put in digital from the selection in our past slide. But you can go different ways with that. So if you wanted to do digital marketing and advertising, you could do that. If you want to do digital media, You could click on that digital art, fashion, and design. So maybe that could be like, digital editing of photographs or whatever, digital sales, retail. So there are different options that you can choose in different fields. So that's another reason why I like Google Job Search. And this is how you would use social media in your job search. And I tell a lot of my art people that, networking, going out to art shows anymore is kind of a thing of the past, until things open back up and are more normal. Um, Using Instagram is a great way to network and to meet other artists and to meet gallery owners and to meet, people in the industry. So I always suggest that they have an Instagram or some sort of social media that they can interact with people in the field. So start following accounts that post jobs in your area of expertise or people that you can network with in your field. And this doesn't just go for arts. This can go for anything. So I would recommend, like, for example, jobs.art Instagram. I follow them, and they always post in their stories every day an art job. Some of them are like in LA, New York, and things like that, but it's still jobs that are related to your major. And a lot of artists want to move out to those areas anyway. So I would recommend following any account that is related to your area. And you can also reach out to people too. You can also DM them, ask them questions. More than likely, they'll be willing to answer those questions for you. So Facebook also has, some good things about it. I would say that the groups are the most helpful when it comes to Facebook. I follow Denton Downtowners. I follow a lot of the job posting groups that Denton has to offer. And if you're looking for a quick job, or, something that maybe you need a job like tomorrow or something like that, and then other jobs are, more serious and other than others. But um, I would also recommend following a group on Facebook that, is in your area. So if you don't live in Denton, maybe, if it's Flower Mound, if it's Dallas, like, follow job posting groups on Facebook, because every day, all the time, people are posting jobs that they need filled. So use social media to your advantage. Even if you don't like social media, um, it still has its perks and it still has its good values. So use that to your advantage. Again, like, seek out those opportunities on specific websites. So make your list of the top 10 companies you want to work for, or people, you want to work for. Um, and go to their website and seek out the opportunities that they have, and be creative about what you put into your search. Um, a lot of students that I talk to don't really know about auction houses. Like, it's still a very creative field, and there are a lot of positions posted here in Dallas. So we talk about that. But you have to go out and seek some opportunities because they may not be on search engines and you may not pick up that. So be very specific in Googling companies and businesses and where you would like to work. Okay. So that was pretty much the presentation. We did finish about 30 minutes early, but I did want to leave some room for questions. This is my information. So if you have any questions for me, you may not have any questions for me now, but if you can think of any in the future, feel free to give me a call or to email me. I'm here in Sage Hall, and I also have the information about how to set up an appointment with me, or your designated career coach.